Hi, this is Jim Leach from jimleacharts.com, and when I painted the Scream, I had three things in mind, and which is what I usually do when I'm doing a study like this. I should tell you first, it is a Baltic birch panel, 8x10. I'm using just a couple colors: ultramarine blue, yellow ochre. I'm using cad red, which I rarely ever use. A little bit of I think that was a burnt sienna, just because I always love burnt sienna. Probably a little bit of umber at a certain point too, and titanium white. Look at me being a good boy and pre-mixing all my colors, or at least a whole bunch of colors, with the palette knife. That's one of the things I'm trying to focus on. I'm trying a new technique here where I have done the underpainting with acrylics. I did 4 underpaintings at the same time, obviously very quickly, just to block in, I call them like the surveyor marks. It's before you start doing any excavation to build the building, but you just sort of put general marks in where things are going to go. And I got that idea of doing the acrylic underpainting from Portrait Artists of the Year, which is my new favorite television show. It's a British show where folks get together to compete and do portrait arts. So, and several of them had done an underpainting in acrylic, even in the same session that they then went over on top of it with oil. I thought that was just a really nifty idea, so I did several, and this is the first one that I am turning into a painting. Another thing I'm trying to do is, well, it's a limited palette, but I mean, like, really, is there such thing as an unlimited palette? I mean, your palette's going to be a certain finite size anyway, so I don't know if I like that idea. I'm working from a black and white reference. It is from a like 1940s pulp. She is very clearly screaming in the reference, and looking fantastic. Also, just like you would if you're on a book cover. Which is a style I would like to get. I would like to get more conversant with the pulp illustrational style. It's my first time painting blonde hair, and so I've been playing with the idea, with the observation that there's actually a lot of green, that little subtle green in blonde hair. So that's what I'm playing with here. It's a black and white reference. I'm also celebrating my birthday. It was a big birthday, and so she is maybe not screaming in terror as much as screaming in the thought of, I don't know, human mortality, being surprised. Look at me, here I'm at it, and a little bit of umber, looks like umber there, to darken some of the colors. And one of the things that is necessary for when you're doing mid-century modern pulp illustration is I need to figure out how to paint women's makeup. So that's another thing that I'm focusing on here. How to do her mascara, how to do her lipstick. It's all just kind of a mystery to me. So I'm trying to keep my brush strokes loose. One might say sloppy, but in that lovely flat brushed way that mid-century illustration seemed to do. Here I am boldly adding some of my darkest darks for that mascara thing. I don't, like I said, I think I'm going too dark on it, but I want the eyes to be the focus on this painting. Eyes being the windows of the soul, and even though the likeness or expression is so often carried by the mouth. I think John Singer Sargent said that a portrait is it's a likeness with something wrong about the mouth, which was a little bit funny, a little bit true. I have to admit that I really liked having all that preliminary drawing stuff done. You know, the just the general blocking in of the rough placement of where all the little bits are going to go. And so then I was able to settle in and just start having the fun part of painting, which is mixing up the colors and pushing them around. I am trying to keep from overworking, which is one of the lessons I'm trying to learn from mid-century pulp illustration of that sort of lovely hard-edged, flat brush-stroked depiction of form. There's no sense that this is ever going to be a photograph. This is not what I'm interested in doing. I'm interested in making it look like it's a painting, for crying out loud. Reshaping the sides of her face. I clearly have to find a better place for that camera because I keep bumping into it, don't I? I'm inventing color. That's the general thing that I'm trying to do here. So I'm using a black and white reference, and that gives me the ability to play with the background being red, because that just seemed like a scary color. And then I was also playing with the idea that if blonde hair is going to have like notes of green in it, I'm going to make her dress green, maybe even a little more vehemently green. Yeah, there I am, trying to figure out how to do the highlights on blonde hair. I gotta admit, for my first time, I'm pretty pleased at how the hair turned out. Not, I mean, it'll be a long journey with this stuff. Oh, look at me using cad red again. I am just generally not a fan of extremely bright colors, but it seemed like that would be perfect for her dramatic lipstick. She is all dressed up to go to a party, so she may have been going to my birthday party back, I don't know, if I was born in the 40s. And she's all terrified by something. I think, yeah, there I am. I am making the teeth, trying not to make them too white. I'm using the same color, in fact, that I've used for the highlights on her skin. Making her tongue, playing around with the different colors. I think I have learned that women's lips, especially when they have lipstick on, have a nice hard edge, a very firm edge. I think men's lips might have a slightly softer edge. Maybe that's one of the purposes of lipstick, is to draw nice firm lines around one's lips to draw attention to them. I don't know. Yeah, it was a generally conscious choice to make her less abject terror with this scream and more like a surprise kind of scream. So she has more of an exclamation. It's not a Edvard Munch kind of terror, existential horror, any more than I suppose any of us should feel on a birthday. I almost don't want to mention this, but I really do not like her ear. I think I subsequently, after this one session painting, I went in and fiddled with her ear more, and I don't know if I made it any better. But I do not like the way, I'm going to fix it in a minute here, but I still don't think it's fixed correctly. In the reference, she has a beautiful earring on that I just did not have the moral fortitude to address. And I figured since I was learning other things in this study, I love that underlighting. I just love dramatic lighting, like non-standard, non-advertising sitcom lighting, you know. I love it when like there's lighting coming from below or from the side. So the challenge is to make her look still attractive, but also not too normal. Here I am adding a little bit of highlights to the side parts of the hair. I am really impressed by how I am bracing my hand to make sure that I make a good, confident mark. That was something I learned, is that freehand, as in like with no support, that's really difficult to make those marks. So I've either started using a maul stick or just even using my other hand as support for when I'm making a bold move. Look at that. Again, fiddling with the mouse. I do not know if I ever get that the way I like it. Here I'm trying to make the mouth seem a little deeper by adding a nice blue. That is what I'm using to add depth and darkness. There I am, just pushing it up. I think in another video I say that it's my Spinal Tap nature of like wanting to have the darkest dark available to me at the very end. So I want to be able to turn my amps up to 11 at the end. There we go, hitting that. So far, so good. Now I think I start paying attention to the background a little bit. I've used obviously totally different palette for the underpainting, and so I kind of like the different levels of texture you get by adding different kinds of paint. I'm just adding some rough little brush strokes. I don't want to leave those because I don't want those hard edges to draw attention away from her eyes and mouth. So that's why here I am. I'm not blending them fully, but I am just sort of softening those edges. That's not too bad.